Hello, everyone, and welcome. So, I'm just going to go over my top three reasons why I like using Linux as a developer and a computer science student. And yeah, hopefully, you guys can just see my perspective. Little random video, but I needed some content and something to rant about. Yeah, I've been using Linux for like 2 years now, mostly on Ubuntu. No, sorry. Really Pop OS. I've used Ubuntu for a little bit. I used Manjaro a little bit before, Linux Mint, a bunch of other distributions randomly for like a week. I really just focused on Pop OS mainly for like a good year and a half, and it's great, but I kind of got bored, and I'm kind of the person that like hop technologies just to learn more and be diverse. So yeah, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I moved to Arch Linux, or maybe no, maybe it's 2 weeks ago at this point, because I think I moved a few days before I started my YouTube channel. So it's probably been 2 weeks. It's been fun. People say Arch breaks a lot. My system has literally had no problems. I keep it updated on the rolling release, and it's great. But yeah, first point is customization and control. So Linux is very, very customizable. If anyone who used Linux knows that pretty much. I mean, look at Unix porn. It's just unparalleled, unmatched. Mac OS, not too much customization you can do there out of the box. I know you can like jailbreak your Mac, obviously, and I'm sure there's like theming apps and colors and stuff you could do, but Apple kind of has this like minimalistic mindset with everything, and they really don't want you tinkering with stuff too much in that regard, right? So, and plus, I've never owned a Mac personally. I've used on some before, but never owned one, so I won't speak on Macs too much. But I've used Windows since like Windows 7 most of my life. I really enjoyed Windows 7 actually. Windows 10 was kind of sucked, but it was okay. And then Windows 11 is just garbage and it has ads and it's slow. Um, and I really wish like they could just rewrite Windows, but they'll probably never do that because that'll probably cost like $1 billion for some reason. But yeah, customization and control. You can just change your desktop environment, your configuration. You can optimize your system, you can control all the drivers, you can install whatever you want. If you don't want something, you can strip it out of your system. Like if you used Arch before, Arch by default comes with nothing but like the bare necessities. And that's really cool because you can start from scratch. And that's why there's so many Linux distributions because it's so open and customizable. And there's literally something for everybody. And I think just the idea from like a tech tinkerer as myself, I guess I can call myself, just the idea of having the freedom to do whatever you want with your system is really important to me. And I think that like my biggest fear or my biggest gripe with Windows is that at any point in time, they can just say, oops, sorry about that. They can just say, you know what? We want ads in Windows now, and so we're just gonna push an update that you're forced to do, and yeah, you just can't do anything about it, right? And that just sucks to me. And there's so much spyware. I know that's not really on topic, but yeah, it's just things I don't like about it. And so being able to choose specifically what programs you want on your system without being forced to use some and have them always running, like the fact that Windows still requires you to use Internet Explorer and have it installed by default and you can't delete it is like stupid to me. Like that's insane. It's just a whole browser sitting there for no reason, probably just collecting telemetry in the background or something. I don't know. Um, but yeah, the second reason I love Linux is the open source ecosystem and just nature of the platform. And it's really great for many reasons. Other than being free though and like not having to spend money, um, it just makes it a good environment to learn. Like wow, two alarms in one videos. I'm so sorry, guys. But yeah, it just makes it such a good environment to learn. And you on Windows, there is a lot of open source software, obviously, but it's not really like a priority. You see this, I noticed this a lot. I didn't really notice this until I started doing more like, C or Rust development, and I realized like, oh, most packages or most new projects, they're like Linux or Win or Mac first. Why is that? Well, because they're like really big platforms and they're both Unix based and they're both a lot more developer friendly than Windows is. Windows is trying to be developer friendly now, like WSL2 or something. Like that was, a pretty good addition, having a Linux in your Windows machine, but it's still not the best, right, experience. Um, and yeah, just being open source and the entire kernel itself being open source, you can learn so much from so many people. Um, the whole nature of the operating system itself too. Like many projects that are Linux first are open source. There are some obviously that are proprietary, but in general, it's just really cool to be a part of a very learning hungry community that constantly likes to innovate. I think that's the most coolest thing about the open source community is that everyone is trying to get towards the same goal, which is like better software, better technology in general, which I just think is a good mindset. Whereas Windows, it feels more like for the general public and enterprise and bloated. So, yeah. And then lastly is the command line. I know a lot of people are scared to use Linux because the command line, I think it's the best thing about Linux. Being able to control your computer using a shell and scripting is just amazing. Obviously to some degree, like I don't use a fully tiling window manager. I like to use, the GUI as well. But whenever I'm coding or even just like running some utility software to do things on my app, like unzipping files and stuff, is just faster on Linux. Like on Windows, to unzip things, you might use something like WinRAR, right? Oh my God, WinRAR, right? Whereas on Linux, you can just unzip. Like it's just a package that most distros have, right? And it's really simple because you can automate that, and you can, if you want to have a script that, installs, I don't know, like even on my channel, like my Linux toolbox that I'm making, right? Like I can just use the built-in system programs to do common tasks, whereas in Windows, you can do it, but it's just not as developer friendly. And, from things like managing files, navigating the file system, like Windows can do the same thing, but it's not really, it doesn't feel like it's for the developer. It feels like it's there because we have to have it because, command line is important for like, a computer, but we don't actually want people to use this. We want them to use the slow file manager on Windows. It's actually crazy how bad the file manager on Windows is. I remember watching YouTube videos of people like making their own file manager for Windows and it being like 10 times faster, which it's always interesting to me when like I see people online, like random people making software that's better than companies make. And it's like, why aren't you guys hiring these type of people? You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, that's kind of the video. Just want to rant about that a little bit. Yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed and have a blessed day. Yeah. How do I end this video? There we go.